We'll start recording. But let me catch you guys up. If you, you sometimes miss out on this shit if you just watch this shit afterwards on YouTube, right? If you come and join us on twitch.tv/SoColonyBadger, you can catch up with some of these conversations that we have. But what we were talking about is somebody was rewatching their matches from yesterday in the league matches and saying, I rewatched my set and I am far less salty. My gameplay is more fluid and complete overall, so whatever. And I was saying exactly, sometimes, right, sometimes you need to just accept that it was a bad read, right? Like, you could have done this, that, and the other thing, but there's a certain point in your development as a player where, like, there literally wasn't anything you couldn't have done, right? Or there wasn't anything you could have done better. Sometimes you just need to accept, like, yo, it was a bad read. I made a mistake. They kicked my ass, and I lost. Like, and the example we were using in chat is, like, neutral ducking a grab, right? If you're watching a match and at the very end you lose to a grab and you're like, okay, what could I have done better? Obviously, neutral duck the grab. But if you put it in the context of the match, it's like, yo, dude, he didn't fucking grab me the whole fucking match. It's almost like he forgot he had a grab button. So as far as conditioning and mix-up, like, there's really no reason to have thought that he would have grabbed, considering he's never grabbed at all. So neutral ducking that grab at that point would have been just as much of, like, a hard read, high risk, high reward play as, as not neutral ducking the grab. So at that point, could you have gone back and done something differently and won? Yes. But you didn't have enough information to make that counter read. So you went with the information you had. It was a bad read. You lost. Whatever, accept that. But there's not anything you could have improved there. It was still just a coin toss and you lost. And I think that holds a lot of people back because they won't sit there. They'll overanalyze this one little thing. Like, oh, man, I need to do. And they'll focus on it. And now they're trying to neutral duck every fucking opportunity, right? We know people that stay looking for grabs. We know people that stay looking for grabs, right? And sometimes it's to your detriment. And it's like, yo, man, I made that mistake one time. It will never happen again. And it's like, you probably shouldn't do that like that. And this chat follows up exactly. Don't overthink and accept that the opponent played well. Another person says, I feel like I could have done better yesterday. Yeah, we all could have done better yesterday. Every day you could have done better yesterday. But what I'm saying is a lot of this comes from, like, a lack of confidence, right? I feel like if you're going back and rewatching your footage, rewatching your matches, you need to have the confidence to trust in yourself, even if it is you from the past. All right, so we're getting a little philosophical here, right? But, like, you need to stand by some of your decisions and give yourself credit because, like, yeah, you try to be better than you were yesterday, but, like, let's be realistic about how much better you're going to be. So, like, looking back at my matches and trying to come up and formulate strategies for counterplay and how to beat this, that, and the other thing, like, I'm just saying that, okay, sometimes you need to just accept that you made a bad read. Given the information you had, you couldn't have done a different read because it wouldn't have made logical sense, right? So give yourself some slack. Give yourself some credit. Even though you lost, maybe it was a smart, valid play. And you just like, dude, man, it's fighting games, man. Random shit fucking happens. It's like a real fight, right? How many fucking UFC matches and you're watching and you see the guy get knocked out and you're like, what the fuck, he hit him? And then they zoom in and they slow-mo and close up. And it's like, oh, he clipped him with like this weird uppercut on the jaw. Oh, okay, yeah, he did knock him out. But you didn't fucking see that. Obviously, the guy got hit didn't see it. The guy throwing the punches, swinging wildly, he didn't see it. Sometimes random shit happens in a real fight. And it's just like in the game, man. Sometimes random shit happens and you need to be able to accept that random shit will happen. And there's nothing you could have done, and you need to just kind of trust and believe in yourself as a player that you're going to make the right decisions more often than not. Okay, playing fighting games it's a lot of like fucking probabilities, man. It's kind of like poker. A lot of people that do well at fighting games generally end up doing really well at poker, right? There is a Tekken player who won Evolution, right? He's a friend of mine, former Evo champion for Tekken. And he's a SoCal legend in Tekken, quit fighting games to go play pro poker. And he made a living playing pro poker. And he was just like, yeah, man, a lot of what goes into fighting games also goes into poker, and a lot of people kind of equate that to like the mind games, right? Oh, in poker, they're trying to bluff, in poker you're trying to strategize and look for tells and reads. No, dude, the people that are successful in poker and the people that are successful in fighting games understand that it's not about play versus counterplay. It's all about loss mitigation, right? It's all about mitigating your losses. It's a game of probabilities, right? That's what all of tournament play is like, yo, dude, I'm not going to do this because this is unsafe. I do not have enough information to make a strong read that this will hit, so I will not risk this because there is a high probability they will block and blow my ass up, right? And so when you're going back and looking at your matches, I want you to look at your matches, but look at them in the context of what's happening in that match and trust your decision making, right? Trust your decision making. If you see something that was a flaw, like, yo, dude, he grabbed you 10 times, right? You're watching the match and you're like, fuck, he grabbed me 10 times and I never once tried to fucking check him with a neutral duck, right? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if you're sitting there and it's like, dude, he beat me with a grab, but he checked me with mids every single time. He never once went for a grab. That's why I took the grab. That's why I lost. And it's like, that's the times when you need to say, okay, there are going to be situations where you have to make a hard read. It's a 50-50, right? And you're either right or you're wrong, and sometimes you're wrong and sometimes you lose. So what you need to do is you need to mitigate the opportunities where that can happen, right? That's where we start playing with the probabilities. That's where I try to tell you guys to play safer, because in a tournament you have a high probability, right, especially a big stakes tournament, a high probability of getting your ass fucking sent home for nothing, right? Very high probability. Some tournaments, like in Japan, they're single elimination. You lose, you're done. That's it, one match. Here in America and more like in Europe, other regions, Russia, Middle East, right, they do this double elimination format. So you lose, you could lose one more time, and then that's it. But, each match has a high probability. Every time you push a button, high probability of that button turning very, very bad for you. So you mitigate how many times you do that thing. You try to force your opponent to do stuff, and sometimes they don't do stuff, sometimes they do stuff. But I want you to keep that in mind, right? It's all about juggling probabilities. It's all, like, I know that it's boring to think about it like that, but, like, who thinks poker is boring? Because people that are good at poker, man, that's how they think about it, man. They think about that shit as like, yo, man, like, in this hand, with these cards showing, like, and this many cards in the deck, there's a high probability that the next card that flips is going to be a face card, right? And again, that's just like a basic, understanding of poker. But you understand how at high level poker, they're thinking, what's the probability? What's the likelihood? Right? What's the likelihood that that card flipping over is one that will fuck me or friend me, right? And that's the same thing in fighting games. You need to look at the probabilities, right? You look at the information you have in front of you. Where are they at on screen? Are they in the corner? Are they full screen away from me? Are they in my face, right? What is their health bar situation? What is their meter situation, right? If their health bar is really, really high, maybe they won't overextend. They'll play really, really safe because they want to defend what they have. If their health bar is really, really low, they'll probably play like a fucking idiot because they're like, well, I'm going to lose in one hit anyways. Let me just do something unsafe. Like, what is their meter? Are they going to be able to flawless block? Are they going to be able to extend? If I go, right, oftentimes I'll sit there and I'll do something unsafe as shit because I'll be like, dude, he's got no offensive bar. I can check him with this unsafe-ass move, and at best, right? At best, if he blocks it, he'll get like fucking 18% because he has no meter to convert for like big damage. So this move isn't really unsafe. It's like quasi-safe. And what's the probability that he blocks anyways? I've been staggering this the whole time, right? He'll probably think I'm going to fucking stagger again. So I'll just fucking press. I'll do something unsafe, right? Probabilities based on the information that you have. You look at it and you start and think, okay, man, what's the probability of this? What is the likelihood of this happening? And again, sometimes you're just wrong, dude. Sometimes you're just wrong. It reminds me of a funny a meme I saw on Reddit yesterday, right? And it was like, oh, this guy tweeted out, and he's like, man, I taught my kid, I'm so proud of myself as a father. I taught my kid about investing. I said, here, you can have one gummy bear, right now before school. But if you want, you can put that gummy bear aside, and when you come back from school, you can have 2 gummy bears because that gummy bear will have gained interest. And so the kid chose to wait and have 2 gummy bears when they got home. But before they got home, I actually just ate all of the gummy bears because I wanted him to learn about volatility as well. And like I was like, that's funny, man. That's good shit, right? But that's kind of the thing, right? Think about the probabilities in the match. Think about, the likelihood of them doing something, but also take into consideration volatility. Sometimes people just do random shit, right? You're in the ring with Sonic Fox, and Sonic Fox plays fucking Scorpion, does a rando teleport, and you're like, oh, rando teleport, I blocked it, I can punish him. But it took you a second to realize you could punish, so you went to punish with a jab, and Sonic Fox mashed the down 2, gets a crushing blow, and you're like, wait a minute, Sonic Fox be mashing down 2 when unsafe? Yeah, you don't ever know what the fuck people are going to do. Just because you're supposed to not mash when you're unsafe doesn't mean that people are going to do that. There's always that chance where they just do something off the wall, harebrained, weird shit, and there was no way you could have read it. And so you need to cut yourself some slack, right? Cut yourself some slack and just say, hey, man, it was a bad read. It was a bad read, but you're not a bad player. And that, I think, will help you succeed, because then you're going to cultivate those good habits. You'll be more consistent. Okay, yeah, dude, somebody did something weird in a weird situation where they shouldn't have, right? Yeah, you got beat by somebody just mashing down 4 into slide as Sub-Zero, and it's rando. But, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't contest down 4s. You know what I mean? Yeah, that one time somebody did something stupid they probably shouldn't have done, and I could have blown them up, but, am I going to stop contesting low pokes? No, I'm not, because that one time isn't every time. But when it comes to wins and losses, and especially when you're going back, a lot of times you think of that one time as every time, because you're like, yo, I got to learn from my matches. I have to not do what I did here. Now, sometimes you got to still do the same thing. Like, comment, subscribe, tweet that shit to your mom, man, because she's starting to do the same shit every night, and I wanted to change it up. Give her the old panty mix-up, if you will.